somebody driving you around?
How do you scrape your so the stair?
Yeah, I got some personal things that I have to take care of right now.
Yeah, who's your driver?
She's my wife.
Nice.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Good morning.
I'm looking at the computer, but I'm talking to everyone. Hola. What's up, Jack? How you doing, buddy? You feeling good? All right. So Josh gave us the task of running this month's sales rally. Hope you guys are ready. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is point to a new face, Miss Kimberly Robinson. Who knows Kim? Yeah. We got a couple hands here. All right. So Kim used to be an AE with, I don't remember the name of the broker, way back in the day. Who was it, Kim?
Not sure.
You're muted. You're talking away, but you're muted.
Getting used to the Teams thing, but yeah, I can't remember. Maybe it was M&T Bank. Beats me, but I mean most of you guys in Wells Fargo.
So a handful of us that was where we kind of got the gang back together here. Kim worked with us at Wells Fargo, and I talked to her after I started here for at least a year plus. I was like, "You need to come here. You need to come here. You need to come here." And she moved out to Colorado and then came here. So she lives in Denver, but we're trying to fold her into our team because she's a little bit on an island out there, and she's our friend. We want to love on her, love and value, like Destiny's T-shirt. And if y'all can't see it, she's got this bright neon yellow T-shirt. It says love and value all over it. So Kim, welcome to the team.
Oh, thank you. Looking forward to hanging with you guys and kind of feeding off of the love and value thing, so that as you guys know, I've reached out to John and Josh, and I just love you guys, and I appreciate you kind of taking me on as like adoptive child.
I wasn't gonna say fuck this redheaded stepchild. That's not where I was going with that. Oh yeah, tell us where you're licensed at.
I'm licensed in Florida, Alabama, and Colorado, and soon to be Arizona, and obviously Georgia.
No Maryland?
No Maryland. I didn't get into mortgages until I moved to Georgia.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we are talking today. Our big thing is, and I don't think I was here when Josh rolled this out, but our vision and what we want to do as a group. Should I share the screen now? All right. I'm going to try this. Share screen. And all right, can y'all see that online?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so Josh worked really hard on this, coming up with this vision. By 2030, we want to have 100 LOs living their best lives, right? So we also want to have 10 schools in Georgia. And we want to be leading a movement of change in Georgia by giving law officers a better place to work, more reliable partners, and students a better opportunity. So who's excited, by the way, about the movement school?
Yeah.
How hard is it going to be to go out and tell realtors, we build schools? That's literally what I tell them. I'm like, who are y'all? We build schools. That's what we do. What do you do? What's your CEO doing? Oh, he's buying a new jet? That's awesome. So my portion of this is going to be talking about taking care of yourself. And so what I thought about when I thought about this was, I was talking to Libby on the way here. Can you go wrong by investing in yourself? Ever? Is there anything that you can't, when you're investing in yourself, is there any way that that's not a good thing? That's money well spent, whether it's coaching, whether you do, who's in movement coaching, by the way, loan officers? Everybody should raise their hand. For the most part, if you're trying to grow, you should be in coaching. It's free. The Coach Simple thing literally gives you like 30 tasks that you can do every day. Check them off. If you don't have goals, you're kind of stalemate. You're not moving forward. You're not going anywhere. You're not growing. And, you know, as my wife likes to say, if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's the business that we're in. How many of who's still working with realtors that they started working with their first year? That's awesome. Most loan officers aren't. They don't. The attrition rate for realtors, the turnover, and how many realtors are actually loyal? Unless you fold them into your family, which is how you become successful as an LO, that's, you know, they're going to go somewhere else unless they're literally part of your family, and then you just guilt them, you know, unless they're doing it. So investing in yourself is the best thing that you can do. You know, from coaching to, it's really know thyself, right? So I'm going to pick on Josh a little bit, who's into meditation, right? Josh knows himself. He knows that if he doesn't meditate, he's not in a good place. And if you're not in a good place, the adage of, you know, put your mask on the airplane before you help other people. You have to take care of yourself. If Libby doesn't go to Stingo and work out and have an avenue to let go of all the stress, because we're in a stressful business, right? Who's stressed right now? Right? Second. Anybody? I'm terrified. I'm terrified right now, looking forward. I got to be honest, because we're going into a down cycle, right? Our business has been doing this since what, 2010, 2012? It's been going up. It's way overdue. We have to have the correction. We should have already had it. COVID threw everything out of whack. So right now I'll be honest, I'm terrified. So what I'm trying not to do is dive into the bottle. That's one of my vices. I did a little bit last night at a network meeting, you know, so I'm like, let's be real here. But investing in yourself, coaching, knowing yourself, do your hobbies. I want to be in the woods. That's my church. That's where I can kind of come back to dinner. And I know I haven't been there. I need to go. I'm looking at you. So, is Brandon likes being on a boat. Livy likes working out. Josh likes meditating. Who else? Give me some. What else do you know thyself?
What you got, man?
David,
And
Bessie,
fishing.
and Nathan really like cornhole and fishing. Bessie actually sent me this awesome video. Is Kenny on?
He's on.
Are you on? Awesome. I can only see with the microphone hanging right in front of him. Bessie sent me this awesome video that I'll have Josh actually text it out on Reach to everybody. He made this awesome video of when they went down to Destin last week. And they're fishing and they're cooking out and they're playing cornhole. And it was peaceful. You know?
Play on here? Okay, you want to play it? That's up to you.
Yeah, I'd love to actually. I just have it in text. Email it to Josh.
I will
up here and
email it to Josh and then you just pull it up in your email, all right?
Got it. So I'm going to keep on talking. So rolling into the stress part of it, right? What's one of the best ways that we can potentially alleviate stress in your life? Is not drinking. Not drinking. Financial freedom is where I was going. Who here, I'm not going to say show hands because we don't want to do that, but think to yourself, I know that. Outside of a mortgage, carrying a lot of debt, that's stressful. I've been there. I know. In the last downturn, I was just about selling blood to stay alive. Like I had to let stuff go. To come to movement, I had to pay off old credit card debt to get my license because you can't have bad credit and be a licensed loan officer. And this is trying to be authentic. Like I literally had to pay money to come work here, to get a job here. Because you don't have to be at Wells Fargo, a nationally chartered bank. You don't have to do that. You're under their charter. So having, you know, a lot of debt, there's nothing fun about that. Having to make multiple payments every month and making sure that you're there, that's painful. So I would advise a young person like Lexi, I'm gonna point you out. I see you blushing already. You're never too young to get a financial planner. We have a financial planner. We just got a new one. We talked to a handful of them. It was painful. Like, that's no fun. You guys think a mortgage is a financial enema? It's not. Going to a really good financial planner, we had like 6 meetings with this guy. I mean, we basically had to do everything except for rename the kids after his. It was painful, but now I feel so much better. I feel like there's a weight lifted off because I've got somebody who's in my corner. Granted, I'm paying, but they're looking out for me because I don't want to be like my dad. I don't want to work until I die. I want to retire. 55, maybe. Depends on where the kids are. What? You don't agree with that?
I think 6.
Kids will be.
We know that.
I want to retire. Like, that's one of my goals. And financial freedom is paying yourself first. I hope that everybody is maxing out their 401k, at least up to the match, at 5% still, right?
6% to get the full match.
There you go, 6%. So I would say max out your 401k and then pay yourself. That's the best thing that you can do. And I love every week, every month, we have a suite that goes right. And it's nice to know I'm paying myself. I'm getting ready for my future. When the kids are gone, it's just me and her. All right, so the last thing I'm going to wrap up with and pass the baton over to Mr. Cundiff is living in gratitude. Think about how some people have, for the last 2 years, been really hard. From job loss to losing loved ones to all this stuff. We're blessed. Like, we are so blessed. Think about how good we've had it these last 2 years. It's been tough, but for the most part, we've all made more money probably than we've ever had because of the industry that we're in, because of the big refi boom and rates. And, you know, it's living in gratitude. Let's just feel blessed and give back and, you know, show others how grateful we are, because no day is promised. That's all I got.
Play the video.
Yeah.
Taking care of yourself. baby.
Hold on. Let me roll this
This is
video.
an example of some dudes taking care of themselves. In a good way.
That sounded really bad. Terrible.
Wait, I'll take that back. Having fun. All right.
Got more hits than Justin Bieber.
Hello.
Look at that.
Yeah.
There was music to this. I don't know what's going on, but Kenny did an amazing job. There he is.
The cabinet. Supplement it.
Wow, camera heads a lot of times. You should hear everybody screaming when they pull this fish out.
Oh, man.
Look at that thing.
We're all screaming, everybody's screaming. Deckhand.
Oh.
AJ and TJ. They're not brothers. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Robert was captaining.
That's a lot of fish.
I've never gone fishing on a boat.
We got water in the middle.
Put it on your vision board.
Yeah.
Seriously. More
Wow.
Look at that. This is Kenny, thank you, if you can hear me, for providing this video, because this is an amazing example of taking care of yourself and living in gratitude. And you still got to work.
Right. That's pretty cool.
Kenny's done.
Good
Man.
job, Kenny.
Good job, Kenny.
You want me to put it back on this, Cundiff, or
Yeah, that's great.
do you want me to see everybody?
Can they see me? Can everybody see me? You guys good? Am I centered? Everybody can see me? Are you on the screen? Can y'all see it? All right. I can't hear anything. Do you have it on mute?
I think everybody's muted.
All right. So guys, I want to talk a little about serving customers. And I was joking, I was coming this morning into the office and I heard that song by Ozzy Osbourne where he goes, I, that's all I hear right now, right? Interest rate, right? Inflation, inventory, Everybody's
I love it.
talking about that stuff, right?
That's it.
Right? Y'all like that, don't you? So here's what I want to talk about, and that is taking care of the customer. And I think sometimes a lot of loan officers think of the customer as the person who's getting the mortgage, but the customer is everybody that you interact with in every transaction. The attorney, the borrower, the agent, they're all your customers. So I wanted to show a flow chart that I came up with a while back. So if you guys got the attachment, take a look at this flow chart, right? These are the basic processes that we have to do as loan officers down here at the bottom, right? We've got to take applications, we got to do pre-approvals, we got to do processing, we got to do underwriting, and we got to do final approval. And in a market where there's tons of demand and tons of transactions, that's easy to do, right? That's our job. Those are the basic things that we have to do. But in a market that has limited inventory, rising interest rates, and customers who are paying top dollar, let me have at least one of those in case I need a reference. Paying top dollar for homes, we really have to step up our game, right? And we've got to add value to the customer, because if the customer isn't getting some additional value, there's probably going to be some other lender out there that can undercut us or will provide the same basic elements at a lower cost. It's just the bottom line of how it works in a market like this. As margins compress, we're all fighting for the same chunk of business. Now, the good news is a lot of people are going to get out of that fight. You look at Loan Depot, you look at Quicken, look at their stock prices right now. You can imagine that within the next 30 days, you will see massive layoffs in some of these companies. Wells has already kicked it off. Better.com's kicked it off. We are not laying off people yet. We may have to in the future. We don't know. But right now, the numbers look good. And I see it as the opportunity to grow your business. So in a challenging market, we take our challenges and they become opportunities. And this is how we do it, right? First thing is relationships, right? We've got to have good relationships with our partners. How do we do that? Better communication, right? So just taking an application is not going to cut it these days. You really need to have a good introductory conversation with your customer. You got to dig deep. Find out what their why is, right? Anybody buying a home right now is going to face the same challenges. Low inventory, high prices. Some people don't care because they have to buy a home. They're going to have a third baby, right? And they got a house that's a one bedroom. They're like, we can't live on top of each other. There are reasons and whys, and we need to discover those early on to adjust our value proposition, right? So status updates is another thing we can do. These are the things that will take us to the next level with the customer. And then just so you, for y'all looking at this chart, the top tier is what really wows everybody, right? This is like what we're shooting for all the time. If you can hit it once in the process, that's great. If you hit it twice, that's great. But you have to have a plan for all this, right? And so as we go through the process, we need to be adding value. The pre-approval piece. When you're pre-approved, reach out to your agent, have that conversation, say, hey, we're pre-approved. This is what the customer qualifies for. This is the area of flexibility we have. Give them the full rundown. Oh yeah, gotta flip that.
Okay.
All right, awesome. Man, look at us using technology.
They know.
So I think as far as the process flow goes, we need to be looking at every single thing we can do to make it a more personal loan process with the customers, because otherwise somebody that's transactional can step in there and take your business. And that's the bottom line, right? So I think part of what I'm seeing, and maybe you guys are seeing this too, is our customers feel completely disempowered, right? They're in a process, they're gonna buy a home, they've made the decision to buy, but they're having to pay top dollar. They're getting under contract without any contingencies. They're putting $20,000, $30,000 down in earnest money, and they're all risk, right? And they feel like they have no power. So our job as loan officers is to empower them, right? We've got to give them a couple of different options. We've got to make them feel like they have a choice in their mortgage. And a customer that comes to you and asks you for an opinion or for consulting, they're looking for empowerment. Like it's a secret hidden motive behind what they're looking for. And somebody at a Rocket Mortgage is going to go, what's your income? What's your asset? Here's the lowest rate. They are so rate focused, right? We need to be able to think about this like, what would it be like if I were in that customer's shoes? So during that purchase, what I've been using as my script on the very first conversation is they always go, what am I qualified for? and I think the best answer loan officers can give the customer is, it's not what you're qualified for, it's what you're comfortable with, right? So you tell me a general range, and then we'll work around what you want to do, right? And I want to break out a full quote. A lot of lenders will just give you a rate. They don't tell you what the points are. They don't tell you anything else. Let's work this all the way through. And the way we do that is we get a full application. So already you're building that trust with the customer from the very first part of empowerment. The second thing I tell everybody is, before you go make an offer, rates are changing every day. Call me, right? Like, don't just go to your agent and be like, hey, let's submit an offer. Call me first. Let me run through the numbers so you know exactly where rates are. Because how many people have had somebody go out and make an offer and they're like, what? Rates are 5 1/4? I thought they were 4 3/4. Well, don't get yourself in that position, because the first thing the customer thinks is, I got to go shop again, right? Like, I thought it was going to be this. So talk to them before they make the offer. And then the next step is to hook the listing agent, right? Now you're calling the listing agent. Hey, Mr. Brown and I talked earlier today. He's fully approved for this loan as far as having his credit and income and assets reviewed. All we need is a contract. If you have any questions about the financing, give me a call. Now, of course, you got to be careful about what you say, right? You can't disclose the borrower's credit score or anything like that. But you can give them a good warm fuzzy, and they're not getting that many calls. I thought that was going to be the best practice for everybody, but not everybody's doing it. Good lenders are. Yeah, good lenders are, but not everybody's doing it. So as you go through this process for growth, you need to call every party. Next thing is, everybody wants transparency. Like, if you look at government, if you look at the private sector, everybody's like transparency, transparency, transparency. So review your CD with the customer ahead of time and look out for little things in the transaction, like the borrower's paying some commission, right? That gets missed often, right? You need to know those things, because if they wire $40K to the closing table and you call them back, you're like, hey, you got to bring another $2,500 because your agent charged you. Man, one, that pisses off the customer, and two, it pisses off the agent, makes them look bad, right? So this is on us. We have to review the CD ahead of time, right? We got to be doing these things to make sure everybody's there. And then saying thank you, right? Like, I talked to Ron earlier. He had a customer, he sent him a $50 gift card. He calls the guy, he goes, did you get the thing I sent you? He goes, yeah, I got it. Not thank you, right? We need to say thank you more often. And that goes to what John said about, being grateful, right? Let's thank our customers. Let's thank everybody. When the deal is finished up, everybody just walks away and they don't say thank you. And that thank you can be as simple as follow-up email. I like to use the first payment letter to be like, hey guys, how are you loving the new home, right? So you get that little thing that says they've been set up in servicing. Create a little template that says, hey, here's your login information. If you haven't set it up, your first payment's due on this. And I do that on every single customer. I get the notification, I just forward it, and I've got a little template. And so what I'm saying is, create processes that add value. And I think we all will have a little bit of free time to do this. Let's start with the fundamentals and let's think about how we can get to these next levels, right? Last thing on here, social media. People see you on social media and that's how they view you, right? So do yourself a favor, Google your name, look at your reviews. If you're not getting good reviews, call your customers you closed in the last couple of months that haven't reviewed you and be like, I need your review. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's a RESPA violation after it closes. Tell them to send them a little something and get the review to you.
Will you do me a favor while you're on that?
Yeah.
Can you just Google yourself on screen real quickly? Because there's something so easy that everybody needs to do and a lot of people haven't done it yet. I just want to show you. Put in like loan officer.
Yeah.
Okay. See on the right, see how big, like, you see how big the right side of the screen is?
Mm-hmm.
It jumps out at you and it catches your eye. And a lot of people, when they Google you, they stop there, they see 5 stars. I would strongly suggest you put a picture, if you replace the pictures on there.
Yeah.
But I recently Googled about 30% loan officers, and over half the loan officers didn't have that on the right side of the screen. You have to have a Google Business Suite, I think. But I strongly suggest everyone Google themselves and get that hooked up a little bit.
Well, I'm glad that's all that came up.
I mean, I'll be back later.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, will you Google Bogdan? Google Bogdan.
Wait. ROD.
TR.
It was already like, commercial RUT.
No, TO, not TR.
He's the first one.
So TOD.
Yeah. Click down, there you go. Look how good his looks.
Oh,
It's not that I didn't know how to spell it, it's that I don't know how to type.
Yeah.
See how sharp that is?
Look at this guy.
Yeah.
It's the peach. Oh, sorry. I don't know where I am on the camera. So, you know, that's at a minimum in this market, we should be doing all the things I just discussed. I would also say use the tools that we have, like Domo, to really start to drill down on what your business is doing right. I did some self-analysis the other day of my agents, and what I realized is there was one agent I was working with whose lead to conversion to close ratio was just phenomenal. And I called him after I saw the data points and I said, hey, listen, man, you referred me like 20 deals, and out of those deals, 15 of them closed. Like, that's the highest conversion ratio, bar none, of any agent I've ever had. Let's go grab lunch, right? It's on me. Like, let's sit down and talk about it, because you're working smart, right? Work smarter. Use the tools that we have. Use your Domo. Use your video updates. Josh has been doing a lot of video updates, and John actually reached out to a prospect the other day with a video call. You can do it through Messenger, you can do it through your phone, but it only takes a second. Just record a short little video. Instead of leaving a voicemail message, it definitely catches someone's attention, and it feels genuine and kind of like homemade, right? Like kind of like you're watching yourself on a tricycle when you're a kid, right? But it gets the person involved. That relationship thing is good. And then, you know, we stopped using Move Home. It says Move Home on here, but CRM is really important. Use your CRM. Let the systems do their automated thing and update your agents. But on top of that, a lot of times when those emails go out, we'll see the milestone emails like, oh, your appraisal's been ordered. I like to call the agent and just say, hey, it says approved with conditions on the email, but we've cleared all the borrower conditions, right? Like, I like to tell them that just so they know. They're not like, what are the with conditions? Because people are going to worry right now. Like, everybody's worried all the time. Just assume that if you're not talking to your agent every 48 hours, they're worried, right? Like, no news is not good news. Like, they're thinking the world blew up while they went to bed. So, you know, that's basically what I wanted to talk to you about today. So anybody have any questions? I can open it up. I think my volume's on.
While you're at it, actually, because I've been doing all these one-on-ones, I've heard some great ideas for loan officers on how to show extra value other than just to do the loans. I heard this, like, I know Dennis does not think web applications, he only thinks personal applications, which I think is really smart. And Rob told me yesterday he wasn't going to use the web applications anymore. Right now, he wants more time with the customer. He wants to go deeper with them. So he's taking personal applications. Shondor is taking his realtors out and trying to give them some time away from work, just to decompress a little bit, get rid of their stress, give that up. That's a really nice value add, I think, for the agent. And I bet other people have ideas that they're pursuing as well. So might open it up just to give some of their examples of that.
We'll probably do that at the end, just to open that up. But thanks for your time, guys. David's going to take it away here. Yeah.
Is there any way you could share that?
Yeah, I can. I'll forward it to you. I'll send it out to everybody. It's all you, buddy. All right.
Wow, how do you follow that?
So I thought about sharing personal story. I worked for a bank, a sales role a while back. Oh, that's right. Well, I guess, did I sit down or?
Well, we can all use
Yeah,
it.
I don't- you can hear me. All right. Yeah. Yeah, a while back I worked for a bank in a sales role, and it was almost like cartoon comical. We had for a good bit, for a good while, we had 3 conference calls a day, one in the morning, one at noon, and one in the afternoon. The morning one was, what do you do today? How many sales are you gonna get? How are you gonna do it? By noon, it'd be like, how many have you got so far? And you have to turn in your numbers, and like, I've gotten so many credit cards and so many loan apps, and I made 20 sales calls or whatever. And then the afternoon, it would be our total for the day. What are you gonna do tomorrow? This went on for months. We would do 3 a day conference calls, right? And it's pretty typical for a sales organization, especially for the salespeople, to say, what have you done for me? What are you going to do for me tomorrow, right? Numbers, how much you're going to produce. And then you come to work. I feel so blessed to be at a company where our motto says we exist to love and value people, right? And then, of course, Josh is, we all know, he really embraces that mentality. And then putting together our market vision, we got the 3 pillars: take care of yourself, having a satisfied, fulfilled life, and take care of your clients, your client partner, your partners, business partners. And then the third one, which I'm here to share a couple ideas about, which is taking care of the underserved. And there's so many things that kind of roll up to this taking care of the underserved. You know, it's not one size fits all. We all can and do find ways to get involved in our communities, find ways to give back. About a month ago, Jonathan Garrett was here, and most of us took the opportunity to spend a little one-on-one time with him. And we were sitting there, like I really went in with no agenda, just kind of started talking about this and that. And at one point, we started talking about kind of like what's next, like what's company going through, and we're talking about like just I forget how we got to talk about this, but I said something to the extent of, you know, I'm looking at myself and I say, you know what, I'm in a point in my life where I feel okay. I love what I do. Financially, things are okay. Bills are paid. And I said, you know what, I'm really kind of like finding myself more and more thinking about is significance. And he's like, what do you mean by that? I'm like, well, I'm thinking of, you know, 20, 30 years down the road when it's time to hang my hat and ride into the sunset. I'm like, what? I'm going to look back and say, you know, what are people going to say about me? Oh, his bills were paid on time. He had an excellent credit score. No, he got the Wordle right for 3 years straight. No, nobody's going to say that, right? It's significant. That is the word significant. And he's like, who told you? I was like, what? He's like, do you know? I'm like, know what? Because he's like, our executive team, he's like, somehow it leaked. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, our executive team, our word for the year is significant. He goes, I thought like somehow you knew, and that's why you brought it up. I'm like, no, I just said that's kind of what I'm thinking about. He's like, yeah, that's kind of the same thing that our Casey and the guys in charge, their focus is, how do we go from, you know, just making money, just paying the bills, making a profit, to leaving a legacy, having significance. You know, what is it that when you're done, when you're at that point, when you look back and say, you know, what did I accomplish? Because I'm hanging the hat, you know, what's left, what kind of deeds, what kind of legacy did you leave behind? So as far as in this line of thought, just want to give you a couple quick updates on some things going on. Most of us, I'm sure, have seen the updates about some initiatives going on. We had one of our underwriters, Natalia Shevchenko, that's how you say her name, by the way. She hosted a family of Ukrainian refugees, and many of us were able to help. Many movement employees helped out. She got all kinds of stuff. I think everybody's seen the email. Just a small example of going out of the way to help somebody in need. Within our own family, so to speak, I'll speak for myself. My processor, this was not like company-wide, so only a couple of us know this, but literally 2 weeks ago, my processor's apartment burned down, and she got her dog out, and that's it. She lost everything, nothing, just but her and her dog got out and lost everything. And her manager, Angela Moore, as a team lead, the processing team lead, she was able to, she besides requesting LoveWorks, which is in the process of helping her out, we were able to raise a couple $1,000 just between the fellows and the teams that work with her. Just another example. Then there was a third one that came about in the last few weeks, which was a LOA down in Florida. LOA, who Chaz had a medical issue in the family, right? And again, there was a goal of raising about $5,000 to help them, and then the final number was something like $8,000. So just small way for a little bit here, a little bit there adds up. The other big update that I want to share is with the Movement School. We all know that's our big thing that we're involved, that we're focused on. Josh was able to get an update from Tim Hurley yesterday. So where we are is the application for the charter for the Atlanta location has been turned in. We're waiting for approval. We have narrowed down to 4 possible sites that executive team is going to visit, and they're really planning on picking one of them. They're not even waiting for the charter approval. They're going to pick one because we're really believing that we're going to get approved and we're going to have it. So they're going to start the process to purchase the one that they choose out of the 4. Part of the charter application. Of course, we all were involved in a race that was a couple thousand signatures. There was also 50 people who filled out a form with the intent to enroll their kids in the school. That was turned in with the charter application. And since we've turned it in, we've gotten 30 more, just the word of mouth, people finding out about it. So we're up to 80 people who said, I want to enroll my kid if you guys open, when you open. Then the last thing about the other thing they mentioned about the school, which is the testament to all of you guys, to all of us. They took the model we started with word of mouth and Facebook and going out to events to raise signatures, to get signatures for the petition. And they're doing the same thing in Charlotte. I think they're up to 4 or 5. Raleigh. Yes, Raleigh. They're up to 400 or 500 signatures. So that's really all I have. Just a couple quick updates and thoughts on taking care of the underserved.
So, open forum, you guys. So, open forum, guys. What Josh was saying earlier, it's a tough market, right? So, does anybody want to share any tips, tricks, ways that they're winning? Kind of touched on it with making sure that you're calling the listing agent always, every time, multiple times, because that's a freebie. Literally, you're already in front of it. That's the easiest way to garner business. But does anybody want to share anything, talk about anything? Talk about fears, worries, advantages, disadvantages?
One thing I was talking to Josh about, initially Josh was bringing up the starting way great stuff thinking about that. And for them with a discount, that's what I would also do. So kind of taking that to a little couple steps further. If anyone wants to chat race right now.
Okay, can you put that kind of?
Because they can't hear you.
Okay, sorry.
You don't even want to be on screen, Zach.
Come on.
Zach,
One of the things is everyone's shopping right now. Everyone wants to see different options and whatnot. So initially, I had a conversation with Josh about a month or so ago. He's like, "Hey, you got to quote him with a discount point because that's what everyone else is doing." And so I've added that to my instead of just one quote, I don't just send 2 quotes. I'm sending each client 3 or 4 options minimum, because that way you're giving them options. So instead of them going out to shop, they're kind of just shopping amongst the options that you send them. And so it's kind of keeping them. You got, hey, here's my wing and you're under it. So it's kind of just a little something fun out there.
Yeah, absolutely, Josh.
Hold on. You're also probably best you have at the win PMI. So I know a lot of clients come to you and they kind of have 20% down in their mind.
Yeah.
But then they end up $200,000 over where they thought they were going to be on house price.
Yeah.
And you got an amazing job of saying, let's not have to put down 20%. So can you talk a little bit about how you go through the PMI options?
Yeah, absolutely. So the mortgage insurance, if you dive into mortgage insurance options, there's a lot of things out there, and we're kind of lazy sometimes. So it's 20% down, no MI, you're good, or 5% down, hey, here's your monthly MI, 10%, here's your monthly MI. If you go back and look and talk to Callie, I don't know who everyone's rep is, but if you talk to Callie about the single premium options, if anyone's doing 5% down, hey, do you have, we'll maybe do 7 or 8%. Hey, don't throw that the down payment. I'll bet you $50 if you do 5% down and then prepay your MI at closing, that your payment's going to be less than if you put down 8%. And so you can do that at 5% and 10% down. You can do the same single premium or finance it And so like, hey, I can only put 10% down, but I don't have mortgage insurance. So there's some options, especially as you go up at 15% down. I mean, that MI factor is nuts. And so I'll give them, hey, you're going 10% down. Here's if you pay it. Here's if you finance it. Whatever. Here's the monthly. And yeah, 20% down. I tell my clients I would never put 20% down, and they look at me like I'm crazy. Like, hey, if you're ready for something that's unconventional, a little outside the box, I mean, I could probably get your monthly payment within $18 of, at most $18 if you put 20% down, but I can save you thousands. So when you're looking at like appraisal gaps or anything like that, they're like, oh my goodness, my payment's $18 more, but I'm going to save $12,000, $10,000, $8,000. I mean, that's furniture. Yeah, the average home buyer spends $10,000 in the first 6 months of buying a home. So hey, that takes care of that. So yeah, get creative with mortgage insurance. Thanks for shout out, guys.
Yeah,
If you have any questions, let me know.
I was going to piggyback off what you said. If you're not quoting your customer a best case scenario and worst case scenario on your initial quote, and you're in this competitive market, you're doing yourself a disservice, because they need to have options, and you need to be the person that gives them the option. So if they're going to make an offer on a piece of property and it's listed at $600,000, they're going to offer $675,000. You ought to be looking at saying, okay, well, we look at that as a difference of 10% swing. Let's qualify you with a 5% down payment and show you what that option looks like. So you have a 15% swing that you can go to, and this is the worst case scenario. And I think everybody just wants that up front. Rip the Band-Aid off, say this is the worst case scenario, and that way when they go into the transaction, if you get the appraised value, that's fantastic. You look like a rock star. But if you don't, you're like, hey, we discussed it. Like, now we pivot. Now we move on. Makes the agent look good, makes you look good. But if you hadn't had that conversation before they went out and shopped, it's going to be an awkward conversation when the appraisal comes in low and you're like, well, I got to add mortgage insurance. And of course, until you get that quote in front of them, they're worried about what that looks like. So, yeah, that's a piggyback.
And to second that, I mean, it's too many loan officers do best case scenario. And let's be honest, how many best case scenarios actually really exist?
That's right.
So like having the contingency plan, it kind of puts that doubt when we're talking about the loan officers. So don't bring that up.
Cool, good stuff. Thank you, guys. Anybody else who's here? Brandon, I know you want to get up there and talk.
We're also looking for volunteer opportunities. We always do a couple doors in a year. We'd love to have one mid-year about the time of year coming up. So if anybody's got some ideas, that kind of
Generally about 4 hours for about 30 people. So we need any volunteer opportunity that can hold all of us for about 4 hours.
Hey, I'm going to close it with a closing thought, right?
And hold on, I have one more thing. This is new information from yesterday, so I wasn't gonna.
Birthdays. Hey, I wasn't gonna speak at all, but I got some really interesting information yesterday on our regional call. So, I spent 5 years at Wells Fargo, and when I got to Wells Fargo, it was like refi city. And at some point, it was explained to us that we need to be out calling on builders. And Wells Fargo had like every builder in town. And I always thought it was because we had really good builder reps. So we had Ken Benson, and we had all these people that knew builders. I'll actually tell you a funny story. I hired this guy, and I told him we were going to go out and get builders together. And I was like, I'm going to show you how to go get builders. It's so easy. You walk in and you call on the agents, and you drop off candy, and then a couple weeks later they start sending you deals. So this guy, it was John, the bald guy, John Campbell. Okay, John Campbell. His first day at Wells Fargo, we go out and we walk into the very first builder's office, and there's a sign there that says, "We are willing to work with you unless you work for Wells Fargo." And I looked at Campbell, and he looked at me, and he was like, what have I done? Why did I join this place? Why did I join Wells Fargo? Anyway, it eventually became clear to me why all of the builders used Wells Fargo. And it wasn't because we were good at closing loans, and it wasn't because of our extended lock, and it wasn't because we had really good builder reps. It was because we were doing the back-end financing on their builds. We were giving them financing. So we were financing the builder, which means we could come in and say, yeah, we're going to do the takeouts too. because we're the money, right? So, Dennis, can you just nod and tell everybody that what I'm saying is exactly 100% true? Yeah. So now you have little pockets of people for movement that are doing really, really well in the builder world, and they're doing it without that financing piece. They're doing it just by saying, we're really good at customer service, we've got good programs, we're going to take care of you, our pre-approvals are strong, we've got good marketing and all that sort of stuff. The company has been trying to figure out how to really explode our builder division. Reason being, the builders have all the deals, right? It used to be that the agents had all the deals, because if you had a buyer, you had a deal. Right now, if you have a listing, you have a deal, right? So who has the listings? Listing agents, number one. Number two, builders. So the company immediately is thinking, okay, how do we win with listing agents? How do we win with builders? Well, I'll give you a little hint. If you are smart and start calling on builders right now and start building relationships with the agents, we are going to have a solution rolling out in the next month or so that we've never offered before, and I've never heard of a correspondent lender ever offering before, which is offering some vertical financing to builders for builder financing. It's not out yet. The ink is still wet, or they're still on draft. But I was hoping Libby would still be here for this, because she'd go absolutely nuts if she heard this. No. But we soon will be able to offer builders that very same thing, which is builder financing. And ours is going to be more geared towards the mid-range builder. So the big Wells and SunTrust and Truist guys focus on the huge builders, like the national builders. We're going to be able to focus on builders that are doing, like, I think in the 20 to 50 houses a year range, which there's like 270,000 builders like that. Like there's like some insane number of builders like that. And these are the ones that have the gold, right? These have the listings, these have the deals. So the best thing you could possibly do is not wait for it to roll out. Go ahead and start building your relationships now, so that you have someone to present it to when this thing rolls out. You want to have some people that you've popped in on for the last 3 weeks, that you've dropped off some flyers, you've dropped off some food, you've taken them to lunch, whatever it is. You've shown up with your t-shirt, whatever it is, you've got some people you can call on to pitch this deal once we roll it out. Pause for questions. Any questions? Pretty cool. I think it's going to be rolled out in the next month. I think the ribbon FHA thing is going to be rolled out in the next, like, 24 hours.
It rolled this morning.
Oh, it came out already?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
I
on
missed
the
it.
hub. If you
Everybody know about that?
Okay. Yeah, I put an email out to everybody. So we're finally opening up ribbon for FHA with some exceptions. It's going to need approval. Check the hub. I haven't even read it on the hub yet. How do I see if anyone else? I tell you what, if you have a question, make noise, because your face will pop up. I can't see hands. How do I see the rest of the faces? Anyway, all right. Hit me up if you want to talk about it offline, y'all. That's it.
One thing that I'll touch on that we've had success with is, and we just want a deal like this, with an agent, is offer them to pay for their appraisal. Offer them $1,000. Build it in the rate. They don't know. Rates are skyrocketing so much right now that literally we're winning bids. Say, hey, we'll pay for your appraisal and give you $1,000 lender credit, and you can just build it into your pricing. People, it's goes outside the box. Like, we've won a handful of deals by doing just that. And again, people love free stuff, right? So you tell me you're going to pay for their appraisal, it's something of value.
Birthday.
All right, who we got?
Jody, Charles.
Jody, Charles, Dennis, Jim, and Zach.
Yeah. We're seeing a little stuff right here.
Today's the 11th.
Do we want to sing happy birthday to this crew?
We always do. Good. All right, we ready?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Anniversary. Miss Hawk, is there anything that?
My only thing is for Daxis, if they wanted
Oh,
stuff.
yes, please show us how to do this.
Oh, well, I don't have a thing to show y'all on, but, if anyone has any questions on Xactus, or if you have a file, you're not sure how to do it for day one, just ping me. It's gonna be easier for me to just jump in the file with y'all and help you, go through the loan. So, if you have any questions, so.
Does everybody know what Xactus is? I didn't know.
I took over credit card.
I call it cactus. Not cactus.
And I'm such a excited, Kimberly.
Yeah. All right, closing this out, guys. Jonathan Garrett came and talked to us like, what, about a month ago? And one of the things he said is consistency is compounding, right? We're about to enter into turbulent times, and you're either going to be the lighthouse or you're going to be the boat rocking around in the ocean. Be the lighthouse. Create processes and systems to be consistent and deliver a consistent message. Take it to the market, and we'll get through this all together.
Happy hour 2 o'clock.
Happy hour, 2 o'clock.
And if anybody wants to get a movement tattoo, David Bessie said he's saying. Thank you, everybody.
Thank y'all.
Guys.
We love you, Kimmy.